Good evening to you. It is just after 8 p.m. on Thursday, July 23, 2020, and this is your update on what is now Tropical Storm Gonzalo. Uh, as of the latest advisory of 8 p.m. from uh, National Hurricane Center, Gonzalo is approximately 10 degrees north and longitude 50 degrees west, approximately 50 degrees west, or just about 775 miles east of the southern Windward Islands. Gonzalo has maximum winds of 60 miles per hour, which is a 5-mile drop from its previous strength, so it has weakened a little bit as of the previous advisory and is now moving west at 13 miles per hour. The maximum central pressure is now at 1,000 millibars, and Gonzalo still remains, even though it has weakened a little bit, a rather strong tropical storm. And we're seeing here on the broad Atlantic picture, the Caribbean and Atlantic, we have Southern America. We're seeing Central America here, Cuba, Jamaica, Hispaniola, the islands of the Les Antilles, and to the east, southeast, we have Tropical Storm Gonzalo. A few things that we're seeing in this picture here. Well, as you can see, as we progress from day to night, we can see a few things which I wanted to point out. First, well, you can see Gonzalo is pretty well organized, I should say, in the northern Atlantic. However, to its north, you can see this curl of haze or milky texture that we're seeing in this area here. Now, that is Saharan dust. Yes, we still have Saharan dust affecting the Atlantic as it typically does around this time of year. However, dust is a factor that inhibits tropical development, and the Gonzalo is interacting somewhat with that dust, and it is working to sort of limit the development. However, it is not being incorporated in the system as much as we find over here with the Saharan air layer identified in the bright reds and oranges. So that's dust plume north of Gonzalo here, and we can see it's not being wrapped into the system. Gonzalo is somewhat guarding off the dust, and the core of moisture is being held tight, and the dust is being held at bay. However, that dust will play a factor in how much the storm intensifies in the near future, as it is north and west of the system. As of 8 p.m., tropical storm watches and advisories have been issued since last night. Barbados now on a hurricane watch, and the island of Grenada on a tropical storm watch, while the Grenadines and St. Lucia are also on a hurricane watch. We also have a tropical storm watch issued for the island of Tobago. Now, on the closer look of Gonzalo, this is the infrared imagery. We see look at let's work with the scale and key here. So what we're seeing is the cloud tops identified by the bright reds and blacks, whites and pinks. Those are the highest cloud top. Now, the higher the cloud top is, the more intense the storm, or the more intense the thunderstorms that are firing up in the system. Now, from this, we're seeing that the thunderstorms have been persistent, though not around the center of the system, which is about 10 degrees north. So we see the most of this thunderstorm activity is offset to the south and east of the system, which is not a good thing. If the system wants to develop further, it would need those thunderstorms to fire all around the center and provide some latent heat through. Let me not get too technical, but if we need the system, well, Gonzalo would need for thunderstorms to be firing uh, persistent and around the center of circulation. We're not seeing that. So Gonzalo is trying to develop, however, having some issues um, developing there. We can see, however, the lower cloud layer identified in the whites. You can see the swirling. Typically, we have a defined center as we would with a tropical storm. And you can see that swirl in the lower levels if you look at these smaller cloud elements moving from the south towards the northeast, south of the eye, and from the northeast towards the southwest, north of the eye. So we have that center of circulation well defined within this area here. As I said before, thunderstorms are firing but not firing where it needs to be if the storm wants to develop. Moving off to the official forecast track as of 8 p.m. tonight. System, like I said, around 10 degrees north and 50 degrees west, or just about 700 and so miles east southeast of Barbados and the Windward Islands. Expecting the system to remain a storm as it contends with that dry air, and due to the fact that the thunderstorms are not coalescing around a center, it will remain a tropical storm much of tonight and tomorrow. I'm expecting it to intensify come Saturday morning. Remain a hurricane as it nears the Windward Islands and pass over the Windward Islands, entering the Eastern Caribbean, and then interaction with those land masses. These are some small islands, however, they have a really tall highlands, mountains, and that should work to break up circulation somewhat as the system moves into the Eastern Caribbean and weaken back to a tropical storm on Sunday. And from there, it is anybody's game, as is typical with these small systems. They tend to fluctuate in intensity and fluctuate in forecast path. So we have that uncertainty as the cone widens with increasing time. So it's uncertain. It could remain in the southern Caribbean, or it could move a bit north and then begin to threaten the islands of the Greater Antilles. Now, since the inception of Gonzalo, it has remained a rather small system. As we see, this is the wind field through time. The area of tropical storm force winds, we see that increased somewhat yesterday, and then it has begun to contract. So, like I said, smaller systems tend to wax and wane in intensity and the direction, as you can see here, moving west and then dipping a bit south of 10 degrees north, and then back up 10 degrees north. So it is expected to wobble as it moves westward towards the Eastern Caribbean. And looking at the sea surface temperatures, waters of the Caribbean are fairly warm, should sustain any tropical development. However, it's not anything exemplary as we see in the Gulf of Mexico and the Western Caribbean, which typically is the hotbed for development at this time of year. Having a